One thing we all have to remember is that first impression, when you walk out onto the football field, what are the coaches going to think about you? What are the players going to think about you? What are the fans going to think about you based on your appearance? So do everything you can to look like athletes, because you're going to be in an environment of athletes. And the better you look, the more successful you're going to be in this avocation. Okay, we're going to continue with Brandon Cruse.
Ready, guys? All right, let's continue. Let's continue on. So we talked about our personal accountability, collaboration with others, growth mindset, and then what we did is we went into some plays to kind of embody that, right? So the output of that yesterday was some great learning that happened, especially for me. So that was really awesome, and I think we'll just continue on. So let's go back to. So I'm going to get everybody mad with the same format for one play, and then I'm going to switch it up for a few other plays. I'm not going to get anybody mad. Let's go back to this website. Got a play scenario here, and we're going to be talking about a little bit more about holding. Holding is so hard, right? Holding is hard to be consistent. Holding is referred to very often as subjective. You can call holding on every play, which you can't. At least I hope not. So what we want to talk about is putting holding into somewhat of a process to try to create more consistent evaluation. So that's the point of this. So you're going to watch the action involving the matchup of the players circled in blue. The blocker eventually loses proper position, we'll talk about that, and grabs the defender. Okay, didn't say it was holding. I just said he loses proper position and grabs. So that's not holding yet. So we'll go through it. And then you're going to have a lot of options. A lot of words, a lot of options, right? So there's going to be options relative to the proximity of the block to the runner, the timing of the block to when the ball becomes dead. And then you also have the option to just ignore all that, all right? So here we go. Let's see what happens. All right, perfect. Trips right. That's the matchup we're watching. All right? So select your position, read through the options, and let me know what you think about that block given the options that are provided. And then we'll break it down. So professionalism and developing craft, this is to me, I don't know if this is professional, but this is to me how we develop craft. I guess I don't need to keep saying the same thing over and over. But exchanging ideas around looking at plays and trying to achieve some type of consistency. All right, we're flowing in. So let's go to, is it up? All right, internet's working well. Here we go. All right, so the results will populate. By the way, Brad's was a little more seamless than this, I found, but that's okay. Okay, so what are these options? There's a lot of words. Right? Nobody took the bait for these down here. Come on, right? So what we're trying to do is create a process-oriented approach to evaluating a very subjective call. So we have words like material, near, extra, gain extra yards, big enough, restriction. There's that near word again. Soon are keywords. So we're talking about restriction, we're talking about proximity, and we're talking about timing. So 67% said this was a foul for holding because it's material restriction near the point of attack, allowing the runner to gain extra yards. 26% said, nope, it's not a foul. The block is close to the point of attack, and the runner gains extra yards, but it's just not enough restriction. Okay. Very interesting with our back judges are predominantly in the holding camp. Our line of scrimmage people, not as much, but pretty much. Look at our umpires. Our umpires are pretty much opposite, right? And then our referees, half think it's holding. And the clinicians, they're done with this. They're done. They're not doing this anymore. And still, nobody took the bait on this stuff. Okay, good. All right. So let's break it down a little bit. That's the block. Come on. Here we go. All right, so process-oriented approach to holding. This is the way I see it. Doesn't mean you should see it this way, but I'll just give you what we're trying to develop with this process. A lot of fouls for evaluative purposes really are conducive to developing a framework around evaluating player actions. Holding is a process. I mean, you could have a spontaneous hold, but that's very rare. It usually starts with an engagement. There's, an attempt to block. There's positioning. There's feet movement. There's sometimes there's grabbing, and then sometimes there's restriction. And then we have to evaluate how it impacts the play. Advantage, disadvantage. Holding usually isn't a safety foul. If something that looks like holding rises to the level of compromising a player's safety, all this is out the window. If it compromises a player's safety, it's unnecessary roughness. All this advantage, disadvantage stuff is out the window. So the process I'm going to lay out, the framework I'm going to lay out, is really trying to evaluate if the blocker gained an unfair advantage. All right, so here we go. What do we see here in terms of positioning? This is good positioning, right? Excuse me?
He's getting beat, that's what we see.
This guy?
Yes.
Not yet. Not yet. I mean, the runner's here, and he is between the defender and the runner. So in this, and we don't get the luxury of evaluating snapshots on the field. That would be easier, right? But right here, we are good with the position. So whoever's looking at this, maybe it's the line of scrimmage, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the back judge. I have no idea. We'll get to that later. But I think we're good with this position. Now, just because we're good with the position initially doesn't mean that we got to, this is an obvious block at the point of attack. Okay, now what do we see with this hand right here? Where? So it's getting outside the frame, right? So this is detail we got to pick up. Okay, so our process, step 1 and step 2, is evaluating positioning of the blocker, which is still good, and blocking technique. Okay, this is improper by rule, right? You can't block outside the frame. But we're not calling that yet. We're not calling it just because he grabs right here yet. Okay, we have to evaluate this. So positioning's good right now. Technique is starting to get improper based on the fact we're grabbing outside the frame. Okay, let's keep it going. All right, we're still grabbing. So now this is starting to kind of, right? I mean, it would have been really nice to see him let go, get his hands back inside, but he didn't. So this is starting to really pique our interest now because he's still grabbing outside the frame. Body position's still really, really good though. Ball is here, blocker's here. Okay. Right? This is where what you said, he's getting beat. Now he's getting beat. So at this point in time, with his hand outside the frame, which was improper, if he gets beat, he really has to let go, or else he's really going to be put at risk to commit a foul based on our evaluation, okay? So what did he do? Did he let go or did he not? So now we have to say this. Look, right here at what would be kind of referred to as the mesh point, which means this is where we have to make this decision. Does the defender display signs of being restricted? I'm not saying if it's a foul.
I say no.
You say no. Okay. So let me ask you something. Does a defender want to make a tackle like this?
Right now, he's reaching. There he's reaching.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not saying it's a foul yet, but do we see, at this mesh point right here, do we see restriction?
Yeah.
There's restriction. Okay, now look, did he get his feet tangled? I don't think so.
No.
It looks like unfortunately the blocker didn't make the decision to let go.
I think you're right.
Okay, so at this point in time, good body position turned into bad body position. Improper technique persisted, basically, and there is restriction. Okay, there's some amount of restriction. Still don't have a foul yet, right? So now, and we make this decision in like half a second, but it takes us 30 minutes to walk through this. This is what I love about this. Okay, now, since we have restriction, and we talked about he's beat, and the blocking technique was somewhat improper, we have to evaluate time and space. Space meaning, how close is this block to the point of attack? Yeah, I mean, that's a stupid question, but I mean, it's what we evaluate. It's very close. So the impact that has on our decision about this restriction is it takes less restriction the closer we are to the point of attack to rise to the level of a foul. Okay? I didn't say it's a foul yet. All right. Now, timing. So that's the space and proximity portion. Timing. What do we mean about timing? How early does this block occur compared to when the ball becomes dead? In other words, is the delay long or is the delay short? Delay between when the restriction happens and when the ball becomes dead. The delay is long. Okay? So what do we mean by delay? What we mean is basically when the restriction happened, was there a significant delay, an element of time until the ball became dead? And the answer is yes. And that can be represented by gaining additional yards. So I'm trying to lay out some language of the game that we're trying to use as we evaluate plays so that we can talk along the same line of thinking. So the delay is long in terms of football. A short delay would be like, okay, he gets restricted there, and then like right there, he gets tackled. Okay, so it'd be near simultaneous. The restriction and the tackle would be near simultaneous to each other. That doesn't happen here. All right, so it's not a super long delay, but there's a significant element of time between the restriction and when the ball becomes dead. All right, so this is developing craft. If we, and I didn't come up with these words. I mean, this is me like taking thousands of inputs from people like Brad and Walt and Land and these people and trying to figure out in my mind how I want to evaluate this. And now I'm trying to share it with you all, right? So that we can all get better. All right. So now we have all the elements to make a decision. Proper body positioning turned into improper body positioning. Technique was improper. Don't tell coaches this, by the way. Don't tell their coaches the player's technique was improper. That's not by rule. The coaches were up here. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to tell a coach what we would say is he was grabbing him outside the frame. We wouldn't say you coached a player to block improperly, right? So wording is good. That just came to me. Okay, great. He is restricted. It's very proximal. It's very close to the point of attack, and there is an element of time until the ball becomes dead. Now, what we have to do with this amount of restriction is say, based on the fact of how close it is and how much delay there is, does that much restriction, it's not much, but does that much rise to the level of material restriction for a foul? In my opinion, yes, but that doesn't matter because you looked at the play, you judged it, all right? And if you think about these elements that I'm trying to lay out here, what I want to do is just give you a framework to evaluate, player actions like this in the category of offensive holding. So what I'm saying is, improper position, he grabs him outside the frame, there is restriction, it's right at the point of attack, the runner is able to gain extra yards off that block, we're better off in my judgment, based on my training, making this call. Now, you may have an evaluator that says, don't want that call, it's not big enough. Fine, you know, but how do we be consistent? So use the framework to be consistent. Any questions on that?
So you're saying the element of time is measured by the additional yardage gain?
Additional yardage gain past the block is a really good indicator that there was a significant element of time, yes. The opposite of that would be if he holds him or restricts him right there, and then like right here he gets tackled near simultaneous to that restriction. Then the element of time wouldn't be there, and we could pass.
And if the defender made the tackle, however way, then
Yeah,
all bets
right?
are off.
Right, so the defender runs through this and tackles the guy right there. No advantage. No advantage gained.
What is the language you use for the coach that says that was a hold? You know, what's the short version that you give the coach? 'Cause
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
give him that whole breakdown.
No, I can't.
How do you come to the coach and say, yeah,
So the scenario is I called it and he disagrees with me calling it? Is that,
or you passed?
or I passed? Well, if I passed, I would say, Coach, to me the restriction just didn't rise to the level of a foul. That's all I would say.
That's not-
I'm not going to get into the timing and and your improper technique. No, that's for us, our department, internally,
Right.
to try to build frameworks to make consistent judgments. This is hard. Yes?
So the flag would be delayed to a certain extent?
Yes.
Until, so it's like if the tackle's there, you keep the flag in the block, or you wait till, can I, you just wait for the flag to be thrown a little bit later than right at the hole,
Oh, yes.
right at the restriction.
Oh, great point. So the question is the timing of throwing the flag. Look, we have to become this processor that evaluates all these things that I tried to explain. And we're evaluating impact on the play. So if I'm working this play and I see this block and I evaluate that as restriction, and let's say I do say that it rises to the level of a foul, two-step process, officiating is one big two-step process. Most fouls require a two, if not a three-step process. Holding is a two-step process because if we see restriction, then we need to kind of understand the status of the football, which he gains extra yards, and what impact that had. So now if I make the decision this is a foul, I'm probably going to be throwing the flag right now as I'm watching the two players get out of bounds. I might even want to be more patient. You know, if I'm not comfortable throwing and watching, I'd be much better off watching the end of the play and getting the flag out. This late flag stuff, no. We've made our decision, right? It's not basketball where you have to call it immediately. We've made our decision. We're officiating the rest of the play. Yes?
In this particular play, does it have to be the line judge to make this call?
Well, I think that's a great discussion point. So this is crew of 5. The question was, does it have to be the line judge to make this call? Let's go to the formation if I can get there. Here we go. Trips right. Trips right. So now look, trips right indicates keys for pass patterns. If we read every official's objective, especially, look at this. Look at that down here. See how the space right here? We don't need to be watching these players right at the snap because there's no threat. Right? So we're better off trying to get a very quick, what kind of read? Run pass. Right? So from a line of scrimmage perspective, even a back judge perspective, I would think what you'd want to do is key what's going on in here. And these players firing out indicates what? Run. Right? Firing out to the second level to go get, linebackers, that indicates run. I know there's run pass option, which is starting to challenge us a lot. We're getting better, but this indicates run, okay? And now it's going to be pretty easy for you to sense, in my opinion, whether you're from this position or looking from the back judge, that, okay, this is setting up as a run because all of these players are trying to block. Nobody's really running a route. And even if this player was running a route, who cares? Because there's nobody really on him. He's not threatened, and he's not blocking. So he's really free from foul right now. This player's not. What's his body language suggesting? A block. So at this point, we've read run by now, hopefully, right? If we haven't read run yet, we kind of need to. So we've read run by now. Let's talk about where the line judge should be looking and where the back judge should. This is a great segue because this is what we're going to do next. on the next plays. Where should the line judge be looking right now? So the options would probably be at the ball, in here, maybe in here, or in here. Here? Is that because we know that was the issue on the play? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's easy. It'd be interesting to work this play, and again, personal accountability as I'm reviewing game film like Brad was talking about yesterday. Where was I? Did I get to this block, or was I ball watching, right? And if you're honest with yourself, a lot of us ball watch too much, okay? Okay, what about the back judge? Where should the back judge be looking? And we can just pause it right where it pauses, right here. Is the back judge inside, or is the back judge down here? What do you?
So his keys are going to be the 2 inside receivers.
Okay, his keys are the 2 inside receivers.
2 inside receivers, and then obviously when the play breaks down, about there-ish, he's going to look at quarter contact, follow the handle principle. So that's going to be either that guard going to the linebacker or the potential foul that we have.
Okay. So this block is of topic, which that's an issue. That's a threat right away. Who should be looking here? This is the umpire's block, I think. So this is why we need to talk about this as a crew. If we have both, especially with crew of 5, and I'm not saying there's never a time where we should have 2 sets of eyes on one block. That's going to happen. Not at this point in the play, right? The play's still developing. If the back judge is comfortable with the umpire taking this block, then I think the back judge, perhaps should be out in this area. Is that fair? But maybe you come up with something else. Maybe the umpire is going to say, no, I need to be back here. And in that case, maybe you want mechanically the back judge to stay inside longer. These are why it's so important to have these mechanics discussions with our crews. So to me, if I'm just thinking about this logically without really mastering the crew of 5 mechanics, to be very honest, it seems the best option. I mean, the line judge is going to have to transition to this block at some point, right? The question is, are we able to transition out to here fast enough to see the whole play, to see that grab outside the frame and see how he tugs him and takes a step away and then evaluate all the impact on the play. Now, we could easily, think about this, we could easily see a play where this is happening, but there's also like a block happening right here. Now, would the line judge get caught up in here and not get out here fast enough? So there's a lot of things we could talk about. It's better to have actual play examples than make-believe people in here. But then the question would be, should the line judge release this to the referee and transition out here faster ahead of the football on a running play? Those are the kind of discussions you want to have. Very, very often when we miss, and I'm not saying we miss this. I really don't care. But if this is a foul that we want called, very often the line judge is stuck inside or ball watching. I'm just going to be honest, because I worked line judge, so I know. And I missed plays because I didn't transition downfield fast enough to the point, to the eventual point of attack. All right? All right, cool. So here we go. Let's keep, oh no, what is this? Oh, here we go. Okay, let's keep doing this, but let's do it a little bit differently. This is always risky. Is there a referee and umpire that I can ask to come up and volunteer? I just want to work the play and develop craft. Umpire here, and I'm going to ask you guys, is this okay if we pass this microphone? Okay, so maybe stand. You can stand wherever you want. What about a referee? Awesome. Okay, so you guys kind of need to stand close because you're going to talk into this microphone. And what we're going to do, maybe like go over there or something. We'll just bracket. We'll bracket the play, right? How much cord do you have? Okay, perfect. All right, so here's what I want to do. I just want to work this play, and if you guys will explain based on your mechanics, what you're watching. This is hard to me anyways. This is like hardcore. We talk about developing craft. This is what we need to do. So exchange ideas around how we're working plays. So this is your pre-snap look. What do you know? This is, again, we're working referee, we're working umpire. What do you notice right now?
Well, before we even start, it's not the referee's look, but that left tackle looks like he's in the backfield.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Now you're not, you might, I doubt you're going to make that call.
No.
Okay, but you might ask a line of scrimmage person.
Yes.
Okay, good, let's bank that.
Umpire's keys are going to be center, guard's going to know down and distance, third and long.
Ah, okay.
So we got to think
Yeah.
pass possibly here. We got a third and long, so we're going to read the initial keys at the snap. That's going to be your guard,
Okay.
center
Okay.
and guards.
Referee, do you worry about formation recognition in terms of trips, understanding that, you know, maybe you won't have as much help over here on this tackle, or do you not worry about that?
We use radio, so we might go ahead and say,
Okay.
hey, we got trips right, just to make sure the whole crew
Okay.
is seeing it. And then I'm going to look to my keys and expect my crew to do what they're supposed to do.
Awesome. And your keys are what?
My keys are the tackle.
Both?
I go opposite tackle, so
Opposite.
the left tackle would be my key.
Okay.
That's the reason I notice he's off the line.
Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, good. So we'll let this roll a little bit. Okay, we're good. So we snap the ball, and again, what's going through our minds, umpire, with
So
this
we're
action?
we're looking at that and determine if they're coming forward.
Right.
So it could potentially be a run play here.
Okay.
They're coming down, so we don't really have ineligibles downfield at this point. We're just going to watch the action in the middle.
Okay.
Make sure all the blocks are clean.
I like it. Referee, anything different?
I'm going to be looking at the mesh point. Quarterback's got the ball right now, got a potential handoff.
So are you watching him hand it off, or you?
I'm watching the quarterback right now with the mesh point, seeing what's going to happen.
Okay, so wait a second. So let's just talk about that real quick. So are you, so we can have focus, like I am focused on you, but somebody's over there standing in a red shirt. So is the handoff the red shirt, or is the line play the red shirt in my example? In other words, what's in your peripheral, the
for
handoff
me,
or the line?
I'm not watching the line as much right now
Okay,
because I've seen my key. If you notice, the tackle looks like he's folding inside.
okay. I'm gonna offer that we wanna do that opposite.
Okay.
So what can hurt us? By hurt, I don't know why I'm using that language, but what can be an issue for us with a handoff? And this is a serious question. What can be he can fumble the ball.
Just a fumble.
So if he fumbles the ball, then there's going to be a ball on the ground, and then we can react to that.
Right.
Correct.
However, if this guy gets jammed head to the face and the defense gains a competitive advantage by that, we might miss that if we're watching the handoff. So even though there's nothing really popping here, we're much better off just statistically, play after play after play, being more focused here than watching the handoff.
what
That
you're
make
saying.
sense?
Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so what is this? Is this play action, or is it an actual handoff?
Handoff.
Actually, handoff.
Actual handoff. I actually asked myself that during the play a lot from the referee position. Was that play action, or did he actually hand the ball off? Because I'm watching this, what we just talked about. Okay, so let's let this go.
So now we're looking at one-on-one matchups versus double teams. We don't
Okay.
want any high-lows,
Good.
combinations. We're going to look at the hands where they're at the point of attack, if they're outside the frame, if there's any potential takedowns. So far, everything looks good.
Beautiful. Okay. So referee, you said you're looking across, right?
Right.
Okay.
So
Okay,
right
what are we
now,
starting to develop right now?
A hold on the left guard.
Yep.
Right here.
Yep.
Yep.
Now, you said hold. You didn't mean you're calling it yet.
No.
Good.
We just
Okay.
got hands wide.
You asked what's developing.
Good. Good. Okay, good. This is great. So very specifically, what do we see with hands wide?
He's got him on the outside shoulder, and he's starting to turn.
Okay.
Okay, now is he going to move with his feet with it and stay with it?
Exactly.
Or is he going to take him around
Yes.
like this?
Yes. Okay, so this is, by rule, improper blocking technique that we're never going to tell Coach that his blocking technique is improper. But by rule, it really, but by rule it is, because you're not allowed to encircle people outside the frame.
Right.
But we're not calling, we're not calling this yet.
Right.
All right? Okay, good. Now what do we see? Same thing, right?
Right.
It's really the continuation of a hand outside the frame. So why am I talking? You're supposed to be talking.
So
Go ahead.
we're going to watch this play develop. If he brings him to the ground at this point, he's
Okay.
at point of attack.
Yep.
Like you said, the delay is short. Well, we'll still hold that flag.
Yes.
If he comes to the ground, we're going to see what the result of the play is. Is he going to get downfield the extra yards? Then we're going to have that flag based on what we just talked about.
Good, good.
Also, is the defender reaching out with that right hand and then being pulled back inside
Or
to
what's the
restrict
opposite
him?
of that? What's the opposite of that we notice from defenders sometimes? They're just happy to be there.
Yeah.
For whatever
That's-
reason,
They got to try to beat it.
there might
Yeah.
be, but there's really no effort to escape.
Yeah,
Now, they're going to argue that, how can I escape if I'm getting held? Okay, we need effort. We need effort from
We don't want him
defense
going dancing. No
to
dancing.
sell the call, right? Okay, good. All right? So, at this point, the runner's right here. It sounds like our referee is trying to see this. You know, there's going to be some action here. Do we feel like our umpire is on this or on this?
Looks like the hat's pointing further to the left.
Okay.
And so,
Okay, good. That's all right. Let me just play it in full speed now. We've deliberated enough. Okay, so
No call.
yeah.
we're going to pass.
He was released, and the guy even made an attempt
He
at the
made the
tackle.
tackle. He made the tackle.
When he got outside the frame, the guy let go, right? Now, and, I mean, we're not coaches, so it's hard. I know it's hard for these offensive linemen because they got to control in some way. But, we're really going to ask them, if at all possible, to either let go at this point or drive feet forward. And then if you do that, you're never going to get a call for holding. So those are the kinds of things I'm constantly talking with offensive linemen. And again, I don't know how they're coached. I have no idea. I wish I did. But that's the kind of language I'm using with them. Keep driving your feet. Or if he gets outside your frame, let him go. Right?
Yeah.
Which happens here. This is something that very often on the field looks pretty big, right? I mean, you see that hand, there's a pull, and if we throw an impatient flag, we are not going to be happy with this
They
call.
want us to call jersey pulls, and yet you can't just look at the jersey. You got to see what the rest
Right.
of the guy's body does.
Yes, exactly. So that was really the point of this play, is evaluating this action, which the hand's outside the frame, the runner cuts right. We talked about proximity. Well, this
Right.
is right at the point of attack. So this is the key block on this play. Fortunately, it lets go and the defender makes the tackle. So that's it. Anything else from you guys? Good job. Thank you guys. All right.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go. Here we go. Oh, I need another umpire. You can't go again. You can't go again unless nobody else goes. Umpire in line of scrimmage.
Need a wing.
Right? So you're going to work, head linesman is up at the top, and then obviously umpire. All right, pre-snap. Let's go through it. What do we see? Talk line of scrimmage. What are you noticing just pre-snap formation?
But I've got twins on both sides.
I got twins on both sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the umpire?
I'm the umpire.
That's what I thought. Okay. So line of scrimmage, you're talking twins on both sides. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
For me, line of scrimmage, I'm gonna let my other line know whether one's on or off.
Okay.
I'm gonna punch out.
Okay.
If one's off and one's on, and if one's covered, then I'm gonna let them know it's covered, so we can call a penalty if that occurs.
Okay. So you said if one's off and one's on, you're going to punch off. So are we punching this guy off?
Yes. He's
Okay.
not covered.
So
I'll say, okay.
that's okay. I want to talk through it because this is important to me. So is this guy on or off?
He's off.
Off. This guy
He's on.
on. So do we punch?
No.
No. Okay. So we signal the nearest receiver with a punch if he's off.
Yes.
Is that what we're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Why? I'm serious. Serious question.
It's to let them know if he's covered or not.
Okay, so we're basically thinking that our guy across the way can make his own judgment relative to if this guy's on or off the line. Okay, I'm fine with that.
Right.
And then I assume you're getting the same type of communication from your partner. Okay. Okay, good. So you have a legal formation,
Yes.
the way this presents. Okay, umpire, what are you looking at?
I got no hands on the ground.
Okay.
So I'm thinking off the bat, I'm thinking it might be a pass or
Ah.
zone read.
2-point stance. Look at this. Everybody's in a 2-point stance. Your indicator there might be, this might be a pass.
Right.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. All right, we snapped the ball. What are we presented with?
Passing play.
Looks like a passing play.
Right.
Line of scrimmage. What are you thinking now if you've already read pass? So where do you want to start thinking about to get your eyes?
I'm gonna start looking downfield at these two guys right here receiving,
Okay?
and then I'm gonna go ahead and start following them.
Okay, so look at what this gentleman does right here. Do we like, so if this is you, and you're looking at this, personal accountability, do you like this movement this much at the snap? I'm not trying to say yes or no. I'm asking a
Me
question.
personally, I watch the play develop and I'll follow it, and once I see them going downfield, then I'll break with them.
Okay, so I think your answer was no. So maybe pause just a little bit and read a little
Yes, sir.
more?
Yes,
Okay, okay. That's fine. Umpire, okay, what do you notice right away?
I noticed right away that it's past. They're coming up. So I'm gonna start moving up toward the line of scrimmage, watching the middle of the line, watching for holding and restrictions in the middle.
So our umpires are moving up,
Right.
and the purpose of that movement is what?
It's so any lineman downfield, 3 yards down, I got downfield,
Okay.
Or line of
or
scrimmage.
the scrimmage, or the line of scrimmage.
Oh,
yeah.
so especially considering, where the heck did he go? I don't know where he
He
went.
took off, yeah.
Oh, there he is. Okay. Especially considering if you have line of scrimmage people who like to really release,
Right.
then we need to protect the line of scrimmage, it sounds like, with our umpire.
Right.
Awesome. Okay.
Also try and get out of passing lanes.
So maybe a little movement to open up these passing lanes so we don't get hit with the football. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Umpire, I mean, from a referee perspective, we're going to be looking at these players jailbreak to the quarterback all day long. Do you do that from the umpire position, or would you more focus on other blocking?
I'm more focused on center, 2 guards.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're talking about the wing.
Yes.
Okay, the wing's gonna look at the back judge, so maybe the back judge moves over to his left, goes to this side, so that wing might have went downfield, because those two guys on his side are uncovered. So you're talking to your back judge. The back judge is gonna tell you which side he's gonna move by
Got
his
to cover
body
the
height.
side.
So if he goes in your side, you're more hesitant to
Oh,
stay,
let me ask a question. That's a really good point.
because you got
In
doubles,
y-
on both sides.
Exactly.
You're looking at your back judge as a wing.
So this is a balanced formation. You said 2 by 2, or we use the word twins, which is great.
Favors the line judge side.
So that's my question. Does the back judge favor the line judge side or the wide side?
Wide. Should be wide side.
Line judge side. So
wide side.
if this ball was snapped on this hash, the back judge would still be working in this area in terms of whatever matchups. Okay, great. So I think you're probably right. So this movement, the purpose behind this movement is that this line of scrimmage person knows that he potentially has 2 routes to cover, and he might feel like they're going to go downfield. We're on the same page? Okay. All right. Quarterback gets flushed out. So just from the line of scrimmage, are you working, really you have 3 options. One of them's kind of silly, but line of scrimmage up here. Are you working the football, this block, or this action down here?
I'm gonna work the action that's downfield.
Yes. 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 Great. I knew you were going to answer that. Okay, umpire, so with the quarterback rolling out like this, are you staying in here? Are you up here, back here, looking at the ball? What?
No, I check and then I'll start. My eyes will start going that way.
Okay. So,
Once I clear the action, I don't see anything there, then I'll start moving.
What tends to happen to us in these situations when the play kind of gets busted up a little bit, or it gets, I don't know, broken down, whatever, we start to just kind of gaze instead of officiate, right? So we just start to gaze at things, and that puts us at risk to miss detail. So one thing I would offer here is, I mean, yes, you want to pick up what you want to watch, but watch something, right? Because if we just turn into a spectator here, oh, the quarterback's got the ball, and we're going to watch and see what happens, that maybe isn't as much value add as we need from that position. Like, because I know from like, the referee's here, so he's in good position, left-handed quarterback. You know, there's really no way the referee's going to be officiating any of these players here because there's somebody all over his quarterback. So that's just something. Okay. Okay, now let's look at this. Let's look at this at the 10-yard line, right here, line of scrimmage. I'm glad you're there. I mean, what do you see with this action?
I see the line of scrimmage look back. I see the line judge look back. I don't know why he looked back at the play.
Okay.
Maybe because I'm gonna look at the action that's going right there. That's going on right there. The ones that are butting up, I'm gonna keep an eye on that. I'm gonna make sure that's all legal, and then just continue to follow that progress.
Good. So
But if
let's
you go on a little bit, you can see that the line judge, he looks back at the play right there. He looks back at the play.
Okay.
See what's going on. I don't know.
Awesome.
I wouldn't have really done that. I would
Let's
just-
develop-
I would just kept my eyes downfield.
Let's develop some terminology right here. This
Right there.
This is called the top of the route. So what that means is, at least what I've been told, is this receiver is going to look to make a move, you know, change his course of direction, basically. The top of the route. And so very often, when fouls occur, either OPI or OPI, offensive pass interference, or defensive holding type of fouls, before the pass is thrown, very often they occur at the top of the route. All right? So when we're watching receivers, let's get them with our vision to the top of the route and really be focused on evaluating that action. So I think this is movement with a purpose because he wants to watch this, but evaluate that. I mean, what do you see there? That certainly
I see a
is.
push off and then a circle back. I don't know at that point whether I'd call a penalty or not because the ball's not in action.
So it's not a foul yet,
No.
right? Why is it not a foul?
Because the ball's not in play.
Well, we haven't had a pass. So you can't have pass interference without a pass. We talked about two-step process. Go ahead.
Maybe why he's looking back to make sure the ball is not there.
Exactly.
He's taking a look back.
Yes.
He's seeing to make sure the ball's not in the air.
Two-step process. If we just throw the flag off this push-off right here, that's an incomplete judgment, right? That could turn into a real problem if we don't understand what happens with this pass. All right? So we really, really need to be focused here, and if we evaluate that as enough contact that rises to the level of a potential OPI foul, we have to bank that in our mind.
So at that point of contact, you want to look back, make sure
Yes.
the ball's not released.
Yes, right here, we've seen what could potentially be a foul, the fouling action. We've got to find the status of the football.
Yes, sir.
Okay? All right, good. All right, the play goes and goes and goes. And never threw the ball. So there's, you can't have OPI, even though, to me, this is a pretty significant, this defender, I mean, he has a right to that space. And he creates a lot of room there, right?
So point of clarification.
Yeah.
Pass interference on the offense starts at the snap.
It does. Restrictions.
So
right?
we could, if that ball was released, it doesn't matter when the quarterback released the ball versus you had the restriction.
Correct.
If the ball got released at the last second, then you have the restriction.
Excellent point. So offensive pass interference restrictions, the comment was, and I'm repeating for the microphone, OPI restrictions start at the snap and end when the pass ends, right? Okay, but we got to have a pass.
Big window.
So this is really excellent mechanics. If we saw that, we looked back, and then we realized, look, there was never a pass.
He still has the ball.
He still has the ball. So it would be very important if we, for some reason, again, patient flags, if we threw the flag quick, it would be very important for somebody to realize, you're reporting OPI, but there was no pass.
So at that point of contact, I look back, ball's right here,
Yeah.
flag it. Right?
Here's the what if. We got contact there. Let's say that's enough
We look back.
created space for a foul. We look back and the ball is right here. OPI, right?
What if the ball's barely released?
OPI. If we have a pass, that is plenty early,
Yes, sir.
right? Because the restrictions start at the snap.
Yeah. It
So,
doesn't
yes.
matter when the pass is made.
Correct.
As long as there was a pass.
In contrast that with defensive pass interference. That restriction, the restrictions start when the ball's released.
Yes, sir.
We got, I think you were first.
Question is, the head linesman, is he too far downfield? Should he have stopped probably
Yeah.
somewhere?
The question is, I think it's a really important topic. The question is, did the head linesman go too far downfield? I am very resistant to say you must go 3 yards downfield and then put your right foot and no, that's too rigid. And there's always one thing that's not cool to me about evaluating plays in a vacuum, just picking a play out. What is the context of this game? Maybe this team has been running these routes and he just feels like he needs a better angle or something. Because you don't know when the play starts where this route's going to be. It is, I don't know what the down and distance is. Looks like it's pretty long, right? I mean, it looks like it's third. So he's probably thinking this is going to be a third and long play, a long pass. It's probably nice for me to move downfield. And if that's the thought process, I don't have a problem with that. But I would defer to Crew of 5 mechanics experts on that. There was another question.
Yes, sir. I had an incident last season, going back to the pass interference. So if the receiver is going out, of course, for the pass,
Yeah.
the DB just kind of like shields him.
Okay.
Does not make contact. Is that? No.
Yeah, so the question is, for the camera, oh yeah, I know, right? For the camera, the question is, receivers running a route, defender just kind of shields him like this from his position. So players have a right to their space, right? So and it's really, the onus is on the offense to avoid contact in routes downfield. Now, if you're saying the defender, did he just kind of go with him and shield him like this? Was he moving or was he just stationary?
Receiver? No contact. He was.
No.
Oh, the ball's in the air.
Yes.
Oh, well now that's a rules question.
Yeah.
So is face guarding a foul?
No.
So you must have contact for pass interference. That's the answer.
I did not throw my flag, but I had a coach in my ear that was passing.
Because that used to be the rule, right? So that's a rule, coach, that rule was changed,
Yes, sir.
right? Now we must have contact to have pass
I
interference.
had another incident where the kid went up for the pass. The other kid, he put his hands on him, and I threw pass interference, and the coach was like, well, why'd you call that? He's like, well, he didn't have his head towards the ball. I said, well, this isn't the NFL.
Okay.
Once the contact is made, it's pass interference.
Okay, okay, cool.
How many DPIs are there?
Okay, here we go. Let's finish this play, get to the next one, because I think I'm almost out of time. Let's look at this block right here. Okay, so I know this is, these are interesting mechanics because we have twins, referees on the left-hand side. You might be looking across, but at this point in time, there's no referee that's going to be watching this block with a defender having a free shot. Maybe Brad Rogers can officiate both of this, but I know I can't. So, if we evaluate this as holding, especially in Crew of 5, this is probably a blind spot. Would you agree? Yes. There's really, and sometimes this happens on the field with 22 of them and only 5 of us. The referee must prioritize what's going to happen to the quarterback. So unfortunately, we're just going to miss this. Now let's talk about this, though. Look at what, this player gets held, and he might be upset. He chooses two-hand shove and knock the guy to the ground. Isn't this crazy? And this is, so that's a dead ball. That is an example. If you just said, look at this play, and the play's over, that's an example of a dead ball personal foul for unnecessary roughness. How can we see this? Let's go position by, you guys are good. You guys are good, by the way. Thank you. Let's just go through this real quick. Does the referee have a chance to see this late hit? No, why? He's got to be working here. I'm sorry, I could have used, yeah. Do you think the umpire has a chance? Yes.
He's cleanup. That's it.
So that's why I go back to the point earlier about don't just watch this player run out of bounds from the middle of the field, right? We can't just become a spectator when the play breaks down. We must get our head on a swivel and officiate these people. This is a significant matchup and a threat of foul. So we just need to clean that up. And look, unfortunately, I think we are watching the quarterback run out of bounds. So personal accountability, evaluate video, and we would really, from this position, want to be honest with ourselves that, you know what, man, I was caught ball watching. Gosh. And it probably...
At that point, too, if right before the pass, right before the ball's down, the quarterback does make a pass, don't you got 2 ineligibles down there?
Oh, yeah, good point. So that's another 2-step process, right? What's the ineligible downfield rule?
3 yards.
3 yards? Looks like they stayed.
They're staying. They're not.
Yeah, it looks like, so run it back. We were snapped at the 18.
I thought the down marker was back here.
Yeah, it's all good. So it'd really be our big line if you're working it as a 3-yard rule, I guess. Yeah, so we're good. We're good. All right, so good. You know, we just remind ourselves we can't just watch the football when there's 5 of us and 22 of them. We must watch people. We must watch people in space.
Well, can I also add?
Yeah.
As the head linesman, he can't forget that he's got 3 people in the end zone. So while everybody's attention is focused here, somebody could have taken a cheap shot down there.
Right here?
Nobody would have saw it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they're gonna question you, and I can't, you know, you, at that point, if you're not watching, you can't
That's a good-
respond, and
These plays are really difficult. So the point here is, you know, we talk about this, and this is kind of easy to comment because it happens, but, you know, we miss this. We didn't miss it because we were wrong mechanically on this play. This is a habit that we built over time, unfortunately, of just watching the ball. So the other great point that was just brought up was that we got to have the same discipline with these players. Maybe, I don't know if it's a line of scrimmage or the back judge can help out. We got to clean up all this action, especially when these games get intense, right? And it's competitive.
It's another one where, you know, you might note that you saw a player on the ground that shouldn't be on the ground, but you didn't see the whole play develop.
Yeah.
So now that's a good time to jot that note down, time of game, who had the ball, and go back
Yeah.
and look at it later because,
Yeah.
you know, we're doing 3-4 games a week, and you got to be selective on how and what film you're looking
Right,
at.
right.
So if you can narrow it down to a half a dozen plays in a game that you want to go look at.
Yeah, impactful stuff. The comment was, you know, if you see this player on the ground, and you only see this right now, and this guy's maybe kind of giving him something, right, a little extra. Man, we got to somehow get this noted so that we can go back to our huddle that's been made available to us and review it. All right. Okay, now let's go back, Judge. Do I have time? Where are we at? Let's go. Nobody's saying a dang thing. Back judge, line judge, any back judges? Here we go. Here we go. Line judge? All right, let's go. Here's the microphone. All right. So we're working line. What happened? Here we go. Line judge is here. Oh well, it was good while it lasted. Oh, here's one. Okay, line judge is here. We know where the back judge is. So same process. What do we see? What does this play present as?
Yeah, trips left on my side.
Okay.
So back judge and I are communicating.
So you know you have back judge vision over here.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what do we think about this formation? What is this trigger in our minds when they line up like this?
So tight trips left, we can always assume it's going to be like a wide receiver screen, some type of pick route maybe. We can see that. We don't really have that since the player's playing off about 4 or 5 yards. So if I can real quick, just go off my pre-snap routine.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we got 2nd and 10. We got trips left, so I now have the 2 inside guys. I'm making sure my head linesman knows he has that outside guy by himself.
Okay.
Line judge has here.
Whoa, wait. Why are you making sure that he has that guy? Like, or how are you doing that?
Just kind of giving eye contact.
Okay.
Making sure
Okay.
my hips are open, making sure he knows where
Okay.
I'm at. So that way he doesn't go too far into the tackle right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, just body mechanics.
Gotcha.
I know
Okay,
I'm a 31-yard line. First downs at the 21. Obviously, we have the goal line in about 30 yards, so that's a potential play at the goal line. So then we have that. Once I go through all this, then I know, hey, we're about 6 yards off the play, so it's going to be half a second to know, are they going to do a run or pass? Because I don't have to watch the receiver, obviously, because he's off the line. Run or pass, once we go through that, that's more post-play. Still my pre-snap routine, I'm making sure the clock's running where it's supposed to, and making sure the game clock is, or it's,
Nice.
25, 40, whatever it is.
You took my exercise to the next level. Thank you. That
Yeah.
was awesome. That's great. Back judge, question. At what point, are we starting on the goal line? Are we starting, not on the goal line? How does that work with crew of 5, or does it matter?
So good rule of thumb is always 25 yards off.
25?
I always tell my crew, once we're about to 30, I'm probably going to be on the line.
Okay.
Just save myself the extra couple steps.
Okay, cool.
Why so far back?
Question is, why so far back?
At 30 to 9?
Yeah, I mean, that's my thought process.
Okay.
I mean, I'm always 25 yards off. Again, save myself that couple steps. At 30 yards, I trust my speed enough. If I have to get into play, I can get there. A little farther back, I can see a little bit more. I might not see the minute details, but I can see an obvious foul. if it
So
doesn't
I
fit.
would add this. If you're at the 5 and you're going to immediately bail out to the goal line, just start at the goal line.
Yeah.
If you're at the 5 and you're not, you're going to more react to the play, then maybe don't start at the goal line, right?
Yeah.
So those of us that really like to bail out at the snap, you might as well just start at the goal line if that's occupying your mind. Because if that's occupying your mind, there might be details of the play that aren't allowed to get into your mind to help us officiate. All right, so we've now snapped the ball, and okay, what are we seeing with this type of action? What are we reading?
So my initial read, like I said, since my first read is going to be off the lineman, the left tackle, he's taking a reach step, so it's probably going to be a run. I'm going to trust my umpire or my referee to get that lead tackle. I'm going to watch that number 17 with the cross-field action with that linebacker.
Okay, and are you the back judge?
Yes.
Okay, so the back judge is working
The two inside receivers.
the inside. Is that congruent with what you're thinking? Are
Yes.
you, which receiver?
So my first
Are
step-
you working receivers or are you working back here?
Okay, my first step is reading, run pass first.
Okay.
And then once I see, I'm thinking with this lineup, I'm thinking it's a possible screen. So I'm checking to make sure we don't have an illegal block or cut,
Okay.
things like that.
All right.
Make sure that doesn't happen. Once I read this as run instead of the pass, as it comes my way, and then I pick up, I'm working my outside receiver.
Right here?
Yep. And
Okay.
then I pick up blocks coming my way.
So one consistent theme we've seen with this exercise is we say from here that we're working this, but we're not, right? So it looks like on the field, and I know this isn't you, but it looks like on the field, if this is where we should be working, it looks like we got a little work to do from this position, if indeed this is where we should be working, because we're constantly looking back in here. All right, let's let it play. So we said it was a run, right? Interesting. This guy's fooling us, huh? Right? But look at all this. That's pass blocking, don't you think?
Yeah.
Of course, I saw the play already. You didn't. All right. So this is interesting. This is clearly good coaching, in my opinion, that this guy's just laterally running down the line. So look.
Standing still.
Look at this. Now, the last play, the guy ran a mile down here to cover the pass in trips. This play, we are looking, I mean, I hope at least we're looking here. I fear we might be looking at the football, which is obviously what we don't want to be doing. So, watching some of this video, it's pretty clear our line of scrimmage people maybe need to brush up, and not in here, because everybody here knows what they're doing, but it's pretty clear that we're maybe not working these trips routes, and I'm assuming a lot of teams run this, because this is all over the place. Okay, So line of scrimmage, let's just work this the way we would want. So now these routes are taking shape. I'll quit picking on this poor guy. Where would you hope your vision is or your movement is?
Movement, yeah, definitely I'd be moving downfield.
You'd be moving downfield.
Definitely be moving downfield.
Tell me when you would start moving.
Here, yeah.
Right now.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
So we're going to start moving.
Yep.
And don't you think, if we're moving, let's pivot and so that we get our vision downfield, right?
Yes.
That is kind of silly in nature, but I think it helps us get our vision down there, especially when we got to work pass routes. Are we working this, or did we work the guy that went deep?
Well, we got the crossing pattern coming across.
Oh.
This guy's coming towards me.
Right here?
Yes.
What about this guy?
So I release him to my back judge back there.
Back judge, are you good with that?
Yeah.
Whoa, wait a second. Because I think you said you were working this guy.
Initially, yeah.
Okay. So you're saying you're going to switch?
Yeah, I'm right there. Now there's nobody on him. He's not a threat to the play. I'm okay with the deeper guy, point of contact type stuff.
So you're going to give this up, and who would we expect, if this turns into something, who would we expect to, right here?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because this is a linebacker here that could easily get involved. He doesn't look like. Okay. Okay, line judge, so you said you would be, let's throw the ball. So we're going to throw the ball now. Where would you hope to be? The ball's been released.
At least the 20. At
Where?
least to the 20, yeah.
To the 20?
At least to the 20,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Cool. Oh, boy. Oh, my. What is this? Back to just standing right here. Is that okay or not? Back judge, do you want to talk about back judge positioning as this catch process is going to start? Do we like it here? Where do we want to be?
So, breaking down this right here, preferably I like to be a little closer, more towards, if I can, the hash.
Here?
Yeah. I
On
would
the
say
goal line or in the end zone?
On the goal line.
On the goal line, okay.
On the goal line. I'm going to, if I don't get to that position, regardless, I'm going to stop because my eyes can be moving to see this type of play.
Good. Awesome.
So I'm going to stop, process the play, and I like to say this is a two official play because now we got to rule, was it a catch, no catch, and then was he legal inbounds or not?
Okay. So we said our line judge would ideally probably be in here.
Yeah.
Now, line judge, are you hustling down here at this point?
Hustling, yes.
You're on the move at this point?
Yes.
Okay, let's think about this now. What did we say about the back judge? We'd like to be a stationary position right here. Line judge, same process.
Yes.
Think about this. Okay, so
That
you
ball's in the
moved.
air, I'm moving. When
Ball's
it
in the
gets
air, I'm
closer
moving.
to that catch, I stop.
Okay.
And I take a look.
Oh, okay.
I got that sideline.
There we go. There we go.
I'm looking at those feet, making sure that we have the feet inbound.
When this type of action occurs, it's going to be a tight sideline catch. The takeaway here, perfectly said, in my opinion, is we want to move, but I'll tell you what, break down sooner than you even think, right? Because if we move from the 20 to the 18, that does nothing for our ability to judge. Those 2 yards are nothing. Maybe you're faster than me. But even if we're 20 to the 15, we can still see the same thing. But if we're hustling and moving while this feet are out of bounds and the catch and all this stuff is going on, the more we're moving, just like you said, the less we see. Mm-hmm. All right, so let's get into a stationary position, maybe a little faster than we've thought in the past. Okay.
I'm also responsible if that receiver goes out of bounds.
Sure.
And he comes back in. So I have to see that as well.
Yes.
So I'm responsible for that as well.
Let's hit the rule. So what's the rule? What do we want? What would we evaluate here? Clearly out of bounds, right? Clearly out of bounds. So what do we do mechanically? Hat. Okay. Okay, so who throws their hat? Line judge?
Yes.
Would the back judge throw his hat? Thank you. Good. That'd be doing too much. You don't have a perspective. Awesome. So you got your hat off. Now, what do we have to judge? What do we have to judge next? No, I'm sorry. What did we have to judge before we threw our hat? Receiver out of bounds, but what?
Voluntarily or push?
Yes. Everybody said the same thing. Was the receiver out due to contact or out on his own? That's the language we use, okay? Out due to contact or out on his own. We're getting away from forced out because that implies that the defender forced the receiver out. and that doesn't meet the standard with which we work this. If the defender's feeling and has a little contact, we're going to give the benefit of the doubt that the receiver was out due to contact. But if it's just a feel and then we do judge it, we don't want to say that's forced out because that is just going to invite disagreement. Right? Does that make sense? So maybe that's wording we're trying to work on. Receiver was out due to contact, not necessarily forced out, even though he was forced out, right? But we don't want to say forced out because that just invites unnecessary disagreement from probably the defensive coach. Okay. So let's say it looks to me, we didn't see all of it, but I think you'll agree, it looks to me like he's out on his own. Voluntarily was another word that was said. Okay. So now, what does that mean? What is this receiver by rule allowed to do or not do?
He can't be the first to touch the ball.
Okay. He can't be the first to touch the ball. Okay. So he is the first to touch the ball. So what? You just told me he can't do that. Does that mean we have a flag?
No.
Line judge?
No.
Hang on. So we don't have a flag. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laser point you. Right here.
Still doing the eye.
You just said he can't be the first to touch. So what does that mean?
So my hat's going off
Your
because I
hat's
felt
off.
like he was out on his own.
Okay.
And so I'm mentally going through the process. Okay, he went out on his own. He can't be the first to touch the ball.
Okay.
And so I'm going through the play as he touches the ball to be the first to touch the ball. Now I've got the idea, okay, I've got a penalty here.
You've got a penalty. Okay. What is the status of this player?
He hasn't reestablished himself.
Is he out of, so he's out of bounds now. When he jumps in the air, what is he? Is he still out of bounds or is he back or is he not out of bounds?
He's out of bounds.
He's still out of bounds. Okay. So if he's an out of bounds player who touches the ball, incomplete. So we would want to be careful with throwing a flag here, right?
Right.
Because it's really just an incomplete pass.
Right.
It's like, well, who cares? It's the same. I don't know. What's the penalty for illegal touching in this case? Hang on. We'll get to the questions one second. What's the penalty for illegal touching? Or is this, if he reestablished after going out of bounds, what's the penalty? Okay. Okay, so an incomplete pass is really just a loss of down. So the difference is 5 yards. But what we wouldn't want is to create an offensive foul that would potentially offset with a defensive foul, right? That's not really a foul. Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, here we go. Question.
So we're talking high school rules, correct?
Yes. We're not talking college rules.
Okay, so this is either a legal participation or not.
Oh.
Touching, ineligible, didn't reestablish. You're either, once you go out on your own, you can't come in and participate.
Okay.
And it's a 15-yard play, it's still live.
Wow.
So he can still jump from out of bounds and possess the ball, as long as he's not touching out of bounds, or the player out of bounds, land in bounds, and it's still complete. And it's a foul for participation, and you just let it go, then have the result.
So there's no requirement to create that foul that he has to reestablish?
There is not, as the rules are written, to my knowledge.
What about the aspect that was brought up? I'm not disagreeing, I'm trying to understand. What about the aspect that he's out of bounds, he leaps, and this is a ball touching a player who is out of bounds? You're saying that is not the rule?
If the player is standing out of bounds while they touch the ball, that player becomes out of bounds.
Okay.
Different. You can process all that.
Yep.
And sell it to the coach. That would be out of bounds, and then you make it out of bounds. It's considered out of bounds. That is the
But him being airborne is different, you're saying?
If he
Oh.
caught that ball and landed in bounds, the next thing didn't land out of bounds.
Okay, perfect. So clarifying this, if he comes down, this is indisputable. It's not indisputable. I'm going to say he actually scores. This is in bounds. His toe is in bounds and his heel's up. Just go with me. I have no idea.
Completed pass, but we have a flag for illegal participation.
So you're saying the result of the play would be a touchdown, but we'd have a flag for illegal participation. We have disagreement. What do you have?
Player who's out of bounds has to be in bounds before he would be considered participating. When he came in, when he jumped up, he was still out of bounds. Once you touched the ball,
Okay, we'll have to, we'll get to the rule. We got another question?
Well, I had a discussion on the illegal participation, so I've got the rule right here. So as
Oh.
written, Rule 9(6), Article 2, no player shall intentionally go out of bounds during the down and A, return to the field, B, intentionally touch the ball, C, influence the play, or D, otherwise participate. I'd say this player is doing B, C, and D, which would be illegal participation. So no matter where he jumps and touches the ball, since he went out of bounds on his own, intentionally went out of bounds, he is intentionally touching the ball, he's influencing the play, and otherwise participating still. So that by rule, by 9(6)(2) would be illegal participation, which is a 15-yard penalty for the previous spot, and would keep it down.
Okay, there's your case. Okay, we're gonna leave that. Now, one what if he comes down out of bounds, does that rule still apply?
So as soon as he goes out, he's intentionally touching the ball, and he's
So the rule kicks in.
stopping the defender from potentially
Okay.
intercepting.
Interesting. Okay, so just do me a favor. We'll wrap this up because I got to go with the time or whatever. Clarify the rule. Look at the definitions, right? What makes a player inbounds versus out of bounds? You called out 9(6)(2), was it? For illegal participation. Does that apply if the player leaps from out of bounds? That was great discussion. Thank you, guys. Good job.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's it. I really want to appreciate everybody for your participation. We made it a little bit uncomfortable at times trying to work through very complex rules that, by the way, are different from college football, right? Like way different. So thank you all. This has been a great time. Appreciate it. Wow.
Good job. Let's take a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back for another one. So thank you.